My reflections on the Constitution will consist of short statements, and I mean short statements, relating to three issues: the separation of powers between the executive and the legislature, the Council of State, and local government. The separation of powers is intended to make it possible for one branch of government to check any excesses of another branch. In my view, with about half of ministers plus some of the deputy ministers drawn from parliament, the legislature cannot effectively check the executive. Cabinet decisions are binding on ministers and deputy ministers, and they must be defended by them, including in parliament. I think that a system where ministers and their deputies are drawn from outside parliament will be better suited to holding the executive in check. Indeed, the requirement to appoint so many ministers from parliament may be an incentive for a president to increase the number of ministers in order to minimize potential trouble with parliament. Now, the Council of State. We would all agree that the Council of State has an imposing name. But the way it has so far gone about its work has made it look like an honorific institution without power. Yet, apart from the president, the council has power to advise every public institution in Ghana. Based on my own experience at the Electoral Commission, I can say that the council takes briefings from public institutions and gives them advice in turn. I think it will help the public to gauge the council's impact if periodically it issues a report indicating what advice it has given to which institution. In the council's relation with the president, there is one thing in particular that I think requires clarification. The president appoints some people in consultation with the council, and some on the advice of the council. What is the difference? Some lawyers say there is no difference at all, and the president can do as he pleases in both instances. But others say that unlike consultation, in the case of advice, the president cannot appoint unless he is so advised. If that is indeed the case, it must be made explicit in any amendment to the Constitution so that the president cannot ignore the advice of the council. Now, local government. I strongly believe that we cannot achieve any appreciable level of development in this country without fundamental reforms in our local government system. I strongly believe that. Perhaps the failure of our local government system is best dramatized by the not infrequent calls on the president and the central government to provide toilets for towns and villages. That, for me, dramatizes the failure of our local government. Clearly, what we have now is the shadow and not the substance of decentralization. But I think a number of things could be done to make decentralization real.